Hey there, welcome to this very special edition of Insomniac Live. My name is James Stevenson, and I'm here with three great guests today. You probably know two of them for sure, and this guy's new though. This is Jeremy Thompson. He's a speedrunner who specializes in a bunch of different Spyro speedruns, but today he's going to be performing a Spyro 3, Spyro Year of the Dragon speedrun for us, which we're very excited to see, and then we'll do an exhibition of some cool glitches and stuff. The victims today, or the ones who are marveling, are the people who made Spyro Year of the Dragon and are going to see their game beaten in 30 minutes with a variety of glitches and bugs that they did not fix. So,
I'm still scared.
Brian Hastings, our chief creative. Well, what's your no? The title changed, didn't it? It's chief
creative strategist.
Chief creative strategist. I was like, I know it's somewhere in there.
All strategic with it.
Yeah, and then Ted Price, obviously founder and CEO of Insomniac Games, here to join us. And Jeremy, you ready for this?
Sure.
Should I just go? We're gonna go in and straight up and do it.
Yeah.
All right. You said like 30.
About 30 minutes. Yeah.
All right, somewhere in that ballpark. So here we go. And hi everyone in chat. And this is gonna be crazy.
Okay. So
Our old logo.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
the purpose of the run, the intent is to beat the first sorceress fight. There are two, but normally that would require 100 eggs. There's a door. The door is skippable, and it's very convenient, as you'll see. The levels that are locked, whether by gems or by eggs, are still fully active underneath the boundaries, and so we can skip into all of those as well. Otherwise, we would require 60 eggs to beat the run. But we only actually need 19 of them, just very specific ones. So we'll be collecting the end of level eggs for the 5 primary levels in each homeworld. There's one egg that's forced onto us in Sergeant Bird, but other than that, it's just the boss eggs to progress through.
Did you know all this?
No, I didn't know any of that.
Jesus. That's fantastic that you
I'm looking
discovered
for
all this. Did you discover this by playing over and over again, or was it a...
What? How'd you just... What?
I discovered some of it.
Okay.
There's a large community behind it.
Okay.
So what happened there was, it's a dead body proxy. There are certain objects in the game that allow Spyro to charge through them, but not to glide through them. And your charge jump animation, if you press X while still holding square, then you get a 1-frame glide, and then on the next frame you begin charging again.
You programmed that, right?
Oh, yeah. I
I
blame
think
Matt.
you probably did. Yeah.
It's
Oh,
Matt
that's
Whiting.
Matt did, yes.
So if you press X while inside of a hitbox of that type, during your charge jump animation, you get momentum conserved as a vector. This is the one thing I'm really worried about today. Oh, got it. Cool.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah,
That's
there you go.
insane.
So this one's really difficult on NTSC, the American version. On PAL, it's actually much easier. For some reason, whatever the momentum conversion was, it made it a lot easier. But basically, you need to throw out the window any consideration of like physical bodies of water. It needs to be just a trigger in a container. And
This would have been such a good post-game cheat,
yeah.
right?
This was back in the days before patches,
Yeah.
which is actually kind of cool.
It's super cool.
So with that one,
Who brought the collision on that level?
we have to go into the loading zone because the death zone's actually higher than like we can handle it. It flops us down into a death, and then we get stuck in bounds, so we'd be soft locked. So we have to go into the loading zone so we can get swim. It's 2 levels. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. This one requires 14 eggs, and so like I mentioned at the beginning, all the locked portals are stored beneath where they would be if they were unlocked, and they're all fully active. And so if we can just touch them, we can get into whatever level we want.
Wow.
now, when you did that last one that you were really worried about, that was like some really, really specific timing, because I saw you were doing all sorts of button presses and moving around just so to get that right.
Yeah, more than timing, it's positioning. It's actually unique in this game. A lot of tricks in this game are timing based. That's one of the only ones that's strictly positioned. Yeah.
Are you a really good guitar player? There must be some other things that you do that...
I played violin for like 8 years.
Yeah?
So I missed a proxy right there. Unfortunately, it's the only proxy of that type in the run. It's an animation proxy, and essentially it's fundamentally similar to dead body proxies, except you occupy the space above an animation as the animation moves to occupy it, and you press square while you're in a flop or a glide, and then you preserve the momentum in the same way as with dead body proxies. That one saves about 14 or 15 seconds, so it's not a huge issue to miss it.
So what is your record? on
24 minutes and 8 seconds.
Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah, we totally planned most of these glitches. I just want you to know for the record, people should know that.
Very intentional.
This was before we had a QA team in-house, so...
We were the QA team too, right? Yeah.
So this is going to use a movement technique called a momentum conservation jump, where essentially by charging, stopping, and then jumping, I move the apex of the jump a little farther forward, which allows us to make that skip the entire level. There's a money bag section. We actually don't need any gems in the run at all. You can complete the run with
Wait,
0
so you
gems.
can actually beat it without ever having to pay off money bags?
Yeah.
Oh. Fixes the game.
That should have been a skill point.
Yeah.
Wow.
Alright, so here's another swim and oops, got an input drop.
When you get to the bonus level at the end, and you gotta chase him, but he never took any of your money,
Yeah.
what happens?
You have to hit him once and then he's done.
Nice.
So use a super fly jump right there. It preserves the momentum of the flap, and then you charge the side of the water. And like I said, the triggers still exist on all the two-dimensional planes of water. If there's a body of water in the level that you're supposed to swim in, on the planes there are always triggers as well.
Right.
They just weren't removed.
Thanks again, Spyro.
So the side character levels are all escort missions, and they're all unbreakable escort missions. They're really well programmed. So there was a theory in Sergeant Bird that we could clip out, and then death abuse on a Zoe. None of it works. So we just have to kill all the checkpoints, break all the checkpoints. There's some very subtle movement tech in all the side characters, but they're relatively unbroken. Except for Agent 9, which it's not in this run, but I'll show in the glitch exhibition. It's very broken, Agent 9.
The chat is loving Brian and Ted's faces in particular because I've watched a lot of speedruns of our games over time, so I've seen the older games and what people do, not just to Insomniac's old games, but to every old 3D game. But I don't know if you guys have seen much of this before or
No.
seen.
I've never seen this. This is crazy.
Okay, so we finished Sunrise Spring. We're done. We have the boss, which is Buzz, and it's a really interesting boss because it is really broken. A lot of the bosses, being good at them relies on knowing the patterns and stuff. With Buzz, you can just completely break the fight. Basically, it's programmed not to go off the edge by itself. And so if you stand near the edge, then it will stop its buzzsaw attack very prematurely. And then after the second hit, it's programmed to get a wall of fire as defense for a couple of hits.
Oh wait, I think I programmed this too.
And the wall of fire can be removed by turning the camera away from it. And so I can just get quick hits every time by just turning the camera. And it just never gets any defense.
That's more of a camera bug.
Yeah. I mean, who would do that with the camera?
I like how you basically have just completely soft blocked the boss. It's like when I play someone good in a fighting game and they just have me completely pinned up against the wall, and there's nothing I can do. That's what just happened.
There is a glitch.
Hey, my daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's a glitch that I went for. It doesn't save time. It looks cool. I don't really know the specifics as to how to get it, but if you, at the end of the buzz fight, get the first-person camera and turn it to the ground on your right side, you can flip the cutscene upside down,
Oh wow.
which is pretty cool visually. But I'm not sure exactly how to get it, so I don't know how to replicate it all the time. I just go for it, and 1 in 10 times I'll get it.
Okay, Brad.
So.
Matt, didn't you?
Wait, the rainbow thing?
Yeah.
I think that was Matt.
Was it?
I think.
Okay.
I can't. Yeah, I mean he made the effect, and I did the points. I can't remember. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Everything's a little patchy with this one.
So the bottom of the bridge is actually solid, but when you're on the surface of the water and you press forward into it after you jump a couple of times, then you start clipping out over and over again. And if you time it correctly, you can clip out while you're diving, and your diving animation goes slightly over the water. And so you can get yourself pushed out of bounds, which is why you get the swim in air. The Sergeant Bird level is very intricate in its checkpoints. We get some of them, we don't get some of them, so there aren't a lot of necessary checkpoints. But they do speed it up if you have it. So I'll go for an extra checkpoint right here. Kill that guy for convenience, and then I missed it, but it only saves a half second. But basically there are 2 enemies on the left side, and if you kill them, you advance the bird a little farther forward. Now that I haven't killed them, the bird can actually get lost completely, and so I have to wait in front of this door that breaks after you drop the weights. And I'm not sure if this was intentional or not, but with Sergeant Bird, the movement that I'm using is holding both strafe buttons and then moving with the analog or D-pad. And it gives you strafe speed going in any direction you want rather than being restricted to left or right movement with strafe speed.
So intentional.
It makes him control like a lot more nicely. Like it's really convenient. Okay. So the next level is Spooky Swamp and another Dead Body Proxy. This one, if I missed the Dead Body Proxy, I was told to by a friend to mention how easy it is to skip the level without proxies. So let me just get this really quick.
This is one with all the haikus, right?
Yeah.
You're not gonna skip those. Come on.
I'll listen to one of them.
That's hard work right there.
So if I miss this proxy, then I'll be able to just show the very easy method of getting across one that was found a long time ago.
Okay, I feel really stupid asking this. When you say proxy, proxy for what?
Oh, it's just a term. There's a type of proxy that was found in a long time ago called a squeeze proxy, and they use the term proxy on YouTube, and so it kind of just developed into this jargon for the game. So since I missed the proxies, you can just it's a higher water, so
You can just play it really well. Get through it.
you can just jump right over.
I think what we're saying is, what does the word actually mean?
Yeah.
It's used to, like, it references a hitbox interaction where you get speed from a different hitbox that you're not supposed to get. You preserve some momentum that generally will give you a lot of height. That's usually the intent behind it.
And so, do most platformers you play have similar glitches that allow you to do this stuff?
Lots of platformers have glitches. I don't actually speedrun many games. That's
Really?
sad. No, I've focused almost exclusively on this category.
Cool.
But there are many games are broken at this point of that era and of modern era.
we were all terrible at making
It's just no one had done it before. This is so cutting edge. You think about 3D video games and 3D simulation. Like,
That's
no
true.
one was doing 3D simulation, so everyone was figuring it out as they went.
That's true. Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, we found plenty of glitches as well when we were playing. I mean, it was just a race against the clock.
Well, plus, like, every collision polygon, like, was costing you memory and speed, and so we had to take out anything that we thought you definitely couldn't get to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you should not have been able to get to that.
So this is the last type of proxy that's in the run. It's called the squeeze proxy. This is the first type of proxy that was found. And basically, it is what it sounds like. You just get stuck between two objects.
Sure.
Okay, yeah.
I do remember.
We definitely knew about that, the getting tossed up in the air like that.
But we didn't like
fix
that.
Like, we didn't know you could clip through that and fly through the whole level.
What could possibly go wrong? So get 2 feet in the air. Yep. Right.
Sony still asked if this has been played on PS3. No, this is on a PlayStation TV, so it is the digital version of the game on PS TV.
Mm-hmm. And all glitches can be done on the original hardware. Just everything.
Easier to play digitally on a little box and move it around.
So the next 2 levels, they use skips that aren't proxy based or swim and air based. Because those, when you have them, they're a very useful tool. So routing isn't very creative. You just kind of you go to an enemy that you can get height from, you get the height, and then you're at the end. There were a lot of skips found, like pre-2012. I think that's me, that I silenced my phone. It's not my ringtone. It's sorry.
Nothing to apologize
good.
for. That's a
It's much-
perfectly good ringtone.
Much better than my ringtone.
Well, it's
Yeah.
I'm using my mom's phone because my phone didn't have Discord that like it didn't have a proper iOS to download Discord. So I needed to contact James. Anyway, here we are.
So how long did it take you to memorize this route? Because I'm generally pretty lost as you're moving through these levels so fast.
Well, the route has changed a lot. Like I've been speedrunning for about 4 years. The first month it was difficult to like remember exactly where I'm supposed to be going. But after that, and the route used to be a lot simpler. So as more things got added in, I had already been familiar with the rest of the route, so it wasn't as difficult to memorize.
Okay.
When you're practicing, how many times do you run? How many times in a night would you run? Like, would you run through there, or what's kind of your schedule when you're trying to practice that run and get it down to 24 minutes?
Right. When I'm trying to PB, which is trying to get a personal best, I usually will do like 4 or 5 hours a night, maybe 5 or 6 days a week, trying to get a good time. That's my number.
That is incredible. Do you have? Are there people you compete with just for kicks?
There are, I think, 61 people on the board.
Okay.
And just
Is it sort of a matter of pride to see who stays on the top of the leaderboard?
man, yeah, definitely.
Sorry, we're distracting you.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. I was worried about this one. It's notorious for in reset list runs giving us a lot of trouble. I actually omitted a strat. You can skip the ice wall as well. I should get this.
It's nice.
You can skip the ice wall without breaking it with the cannon. And I go for that strat in my PD. Saves about 1.75 seconds. Oops, sorry, Doug. But it's very precise, and just in on an unfamiliar setup, I'm kind of hesitant to go for stuff that's so precise. I only changed, I think, 3 strats over what I do in my run. There's a proxy I didn't go for in Cloud Spires that saves 2 seconds. The ice wall skip, and then there's a very risky thing I do in Bentley that I really shouldn't go for, but it saves like half a second. Yeah. So that's Midday Gardens.
So how much does your controller matter? Do you try to, if your controller is a little bit sluggish on a button or something sticking, do you have to?
Yeah, I just get
chuck
a
it?
good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have to put like graphite in it too?
No, I haven't done that. I usually have it plugged in because it's better about not dropping inputs. But usually it's not an issue. I've dropped, I think, like 3 inputs so far this run, 3 like necessary inputs that made me fail stuff.
Huh.
This fight actually, you guys had adaptive difficulty in the game, and this one is radically different on easy mode. You have to hit him 3 fewer times, and he's less aggressive. He doesn't shoot as much. So in any percent, we collect so little in the run that we're on easy mode naturally. And so the fight is significantly shorter, significantly easier, and just, in my opinion, more fun. Some people would argue that the hard mode boss is more fun, but
So the adaptive difficulty is based on how much you collected.
collected, and if you die a lot or
That's what
fail
we
a
did,
lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew we didn't put in act tuning. I just didn't know that's what we based it.
Yeah, it's based on collectibles, dying, and failing. So if you fail a lot, die a lot, or don't collect a lot, then you go into lower difficulty.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, because like Ratchet, there's deaths, but also time in the older Ratchet games. Very interesting.
So did you ever trigger the auto cheat detection from the?
No, I've seen that. It's usually only on pirated games. Does that happen?
Yeah, I just can't. We put in so many little checks that
I wanted to.
I think it was just checking like for like data being a little bit different from checkzones, so probably wouldn't trigger it. I was just thinking that we might have had something in there for like getting to a certain thing at a certain time.
Yeah. So I need to exit there. There are 2 portals that are stored very close to each other right there. So I went into Honey Speedway. That's not the portal I want to go into. I want to go into Bentley's Outpost. So I'll have to retry that. There is an easier way that I could do it. I just went a little bit too low, so I had to cut in early.
I'm going to distract you with annoying questions until you mess up. So did you ever do a run through where you try to get minimum treasure? Like, can you do it
Yeah,
real quick?
you can get 0 treasure. I did
What?
a couple of those. I haven't done them.
That's insane.
I haven't done them like
Huh.
with the intent to go quickly.
0 treasure? Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds really hard.
That sounds impossible.
There's actually one very strange. There are a few strange gems, but there's one in Cloud Spires, a 5 gem, that if you're on easy mode, it tries to automatically go to you, and so you have to dodge it by being on 0 sparks and like jumping up when you're in the radius of the enemy that it belongs to.
Wow.
It's a lot to remember.
So hopefully I don't go in here a little bit. I'm getting an input drop when I'm trying to glide. That's why there's a little flop before I glide, which is making me have to cut in early. There we go. So that's better.
What?
I don't even know what just
I
happened there.
don't know what just happened.
Yeah, the portals are visible in Sunrise Spring. Parts of them are visible, so you could see that they're there and stored. But actually, in every other level, every other homeworld.
Wait, so we went backwards through portals somehow? Was that like going backwards through the...
Yeah, the
Yeah,
portal is
yeah.
down there. It got me into the level, because normally I would have to pay some gem requirement. I actually don't know what it
Right,
is.
right.
I haven't paid it in a long time.
Right, we just had to put the geometry down. Right. Huh.
So the interesting
Yeah,
thing
right.
about this level
Yeah.
is that the seal cycles that throw snowballs at you, they're manipulable with the camera, kind of like Buzz. So if they're off screen, they just won't do anything. And so I can get cycles that are pretty nice.
Right? We didn't want to be. I think we were trying not to be.
That might have just been a shortcut.
Mhm. I think
I'm not sure.
getting hit from off screen is never fun.
That's true.
Mhm.
That's true. We did do a bunch of stuff to avoid that. That's true.
Another goal.
This is before the indicators on the side of the HUD, right? They tell you that.
Oh, actually,
Yeah. We're just trying to.
okay,
make
I'm
it-
gonna lose a lot of time on
Yeah,
purpose.
'cause-
Let me give myself lives, actually.
Because we didn't even have analog sticks back then.
I'm gonna lose. I shouldn't lose 30 seconds just to do this, but I was meaning to do something that doesn't save time. I actually loses 6.5 seconds, but it's one of the only interesting things you can do with Bentley. So I'll go back a little bit so I can do it. Basically, when you hit the second gong, you're not supposed to hit it the way that I do. You're supposed to hit a snowball and do it, as with this gong. And so when the ice drops on top of you, you're in a position where you can get a proxy from it if you go backward. And I was intending to go for that, but my autopilot kind of took over. Yeah, I'll get to go for it now.
I saw the Marty, and I don't know if this person does a lot, but speedrunning, but it seems authentic, knowledgeable. Whee!
Yeah.
Whoa.
So it doesn't really have anything that you can do, but it's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. But did talk about how he thought the Spyro collision overall was very good compared to some of the other 3D platformers of the era.
Mm-hmm. It's actually interesting. In Spyro 1, there's a lot less that's non-solid than in Spyros 2 and 3. Spyro 2, you can access a lot of it a lot easier because of the double jump. I don't know if you guys know about that. You can, if you neutrally press X and then hold square, then you get the momentum of your charge going a little bit up, and so you get basically 2 jumps, and you can get a lot of places that you shouldn't be going. In this game, usually you have to do like creative jumping or proxies to get there. But in Spyro 1, the game is, as a whole, a lot more solid, like physically solid.
What happened?
Shortcuts.
Yeah.
Had to make the
all
games
those
bigger,
unnecessary
faster.
Yeah, the
collision
game.
polygons.
I think, but James right. The game was geographically bigger, and we had the same amount of time to do it.
Yeah.
Gamers love the same amount of time. So. Good.
And most people probably never noticed that it wasn't as solid, or in places where that there was,
Yeah.
you know, you have to be doing crazy stuff to find those.
Nice.
I actually missed the easier proxy. The one that I backed up with is much harder, but I'm glad I got
Thanks
it.
for helping out.
The proxy that I missed, I usually it's like 80 or 90% consistent, but the one that I went for is like 25%. So the next level is Fireworks Factory. It has the hardest trick in the run. It's funny, there are actually 3 tricks in that level that are all ridiculously difficult to do, and they're really the only skips you can do in Fireworks Factory. So I'll go for it once. I'll probably miss it, and then I'll just take the normal route through the level, slightly adjusted for scenery. But basically, proxies become more difficult as the hitboxes become smaller, and the fodder is also pretty elusive and unpredictable. And so the Firefly is the the fodder in this level, and we try to proxy from it. And you have to be considerably higher than some of the other proxies. Oh, cool. I was not expecting to get that. So fortunately for us, Greta just teleports if you touch that stair, so you don't have to escort her through the level. So that's the first broken escort. There's one in the next level too.
Grady!
Grady Hunt, producer.
Producer at Sony on Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Been working with Grady for, oh gosh, how long now?
About 20 years.
Yeah.
More than 20 years.
Yeah, that's crazy. You said that was the hardest trick, and you made it look so easy.
It looks easy when you get it.
Yeah,
It is the
it's
hardest
like,
trick.
bam.
So
Oh yeah. So you haven't even skateboarded yet.
I don't get to in this
So
one.
this is a game that's all about skateboarding. What?
So after death abuse here, otherwise Crazy Ed won't come to the end of the level.
Death abuse.
So we just need to.
I remember dying here all the time.
Okay, that was almost.
This was a
really
hard.
bad.
I recall.
That's fine.
a hard level.
I got the save point.
Oh, I had to get the save. You
I almost
before
died
the
without
save.
the save point. That would have been bad. Anyway, so what I'll be going for at the end of this, I'm going to purposely take a lot of damage and then pause, hopefully on the correct frame. And basically there's a transition between the game recognizing that you're about to die, you've taken damage that should kill you, and the game actually killing you. So if you pause on that frame, a little bit late right there. You get stuck in this limbo state that we call zombie, refer to as zombie. There we go. And basically you have trouble transitioning states when you're in this state. And so if you load into swim state, you just stay in swim state. And if you load into ground state, you just stay in ground state. And so because we're loaded into swim state, we instantly have a swim in air. We can just swim out. And it's one of two ways to get into Charm Bridge early. Charm Bridge requires 58 eggs. The other one's a really difficult swim in air that's only been done with like tassing tools. And so it's very convenient that we can zombie. Otherwise, we probably, like RTA, need to collect 58 eggs. Zombie clears automatically when you die, or when you experience a cutscene that would normally teleport Spyro. So I'm gonna.
I just don't know how you found that. I mean, that to me is crazy. Somebody, maybe you just happened to pause. At
Zombie
that
was
point?
found a long time ago. I think that it was unintentional when it was found. I think somebody was like, "Oh, I'm gonna die," and they paused and came out of the level and stuff didn't work properly.
And I landed in that. Like swimming, and could swim everywhere.
Yeah, so it's one of the really old glitches. One of the ones that was found like 10 years ago or more.
Oh wow. Gotta pay more attention.
So is the remake gonna keep all these bugs?
Yeah, that's how I think it
It's really
too.
important.
Yeah. Come on, Toys for Bob. You gotta make sure there's proxies.
Okay, so we just have Scorch and then Sorceress. I said there was going to be a skip, and there will be. Because otherwise we're very short on eggs, which would be a problem. The boss of Scorch is a really frustrating one in a speedrun because it's almost entirely reliant on RNG, which is random number generators. It's just completely random. You either get a red rocket and you get 50 of them, or you get a green rocket and you get one of them, and the green rocket does the same damage as the red rocket. So when you get a green rocket before a red rocket, usually you lose 10 to 15 seconds for every one you get, and he can just give you green, green, green over and over again. You got reds, that's good. None of the enemies are very threatening because you can just kind of jump away from them and they'll kill themselves, or with the crabs you have to hit them. This looks like foot crabs, yeah. And the reds are much faster because of these double hits that you can get. You can hit him while he's vulnerable and then before he starts another attack. A little bit now. I wasn't conserving ammo properly.
I can't remember how many bosses we had. Do you know?
3 or 4? Is it 4 bosses?
4 bosses and then the extra boss in the super bonus round.
Boom.
So that's so good we had to do it 3 times.
Yeah.
Not me.
By the time you speedrun this game for a long time, it is nice that he dies 3 times because it's so frustrating. Like you just wanted to see him die 3 times in a run. Because a lot of times you'll get a really good pace, and 15 seconds matters a lot at this point. I think reasonably the current time can't be taken down by more than like 20 or 30 more seconds. So when you get to Scorch and you get like 30 or 40 seconds lost to RNG, that's a little bit heartbreaking.
So at that point, do you restart? You just start
Yeah.
the speedrun?
Just
Okay.
have to start over. So another squeeze proxy here. This one horizontal momentum, and then we slide up. So I need to set this up.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and the sorceress is in an area portal, and so they bleed a lot. They're a lot larger than they appear to be. So the sorceress area portal is somewhere over there, but it just bleeds into the mountain. So if you touch that place, you go straight in, bypassing the door for 100 eggs. This fight has changed a lot in the last year. We pretty much know how to predict everything in the fight now, based on what vehicles spawn. So right now, 3 cannons have to spawn. With this current pattern, the one that I'm going to is going to drop, and then Agent 9 is going to go to the right side. He won't necessarily give me that one, but he will turn right first. And our patterns are predictable based on which cannon is dropped. So I'm going to shoot over here. She's going to curl back. And then he went over here. 3 hits is good. He didn't give me a second cannon. He can. And he gave me adjacent tanks in the air, which means I have to do something called a true force, which if he's waiting at a tank and you jump off another tank, he'll shoot that tank immediately. And so if you space the shot about half an arena away from her.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going to space it a little bit, hopefully get this.
It turns out we can only afford 6 polygons per tank. We did a pretty good job considering.
So I was a little late on the shot, and so I wasn't spaced far enough, so I won't get an extra tank. That's preferable, is to get another tank instead of a UFO, because the UFO can't give damage as quickly. But this is fine.
I can't believe you're on Cloud Wars.
And basically right at the 30-minute mark. And you're going to see the end of the game in the time it takes to watch an episode of The Big Bang Theory.
So yeah, there it is.
George! And now, when does the run technically end, timing-wise?
The run ended as soon as I
she
hit
dies.
the sorceress.
As soon as she dies, it takes her last damage.
Nice.
That's it. That's it.
That was
So 30 minutes. Bam.
Wow.
That was Spyro.
Good job, man.
Year
Yeah.
of the Dragon.
That's impressive.
Played in 30 minutes and 54 seconds
Yikes. That's
from
crazy.
start to final boss defeated.
Really crazy.
How's that for you guys?
We gotta. This is awesome. We gotta put more bugs into the games from now on.
Yeah,
Should.
I think it's a
They're
good
fun.
idea.
I think QA's been catching too much stuff. Like, and we're missing out on all these opportunities for future speedruns.
True.
No,
Let's plan some bugs into the schedule. I think it's-
plant some bugs into the schedule. There's steam coming out of someone's ears. Like they didn't even hear it, but they're just like, "Why is there steam coming out of my ears? What did someone just say?" Yeah. So Ted, I know you have to run, but yeah, that was amazing, and
That's
thanks
super
to Jeremy
amazing.
for playing that. We're gonna do a bugs exhibition now that Jeremy's got some stuff, and I know he's got some questions for these guys. John Fiorito is gonna be joining us in a minute too. And so we'll have another of the original Spyro folks here. So stay tuned because we're about to go straight into some bug exhibition. And Ted, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thank you. That was fun. That was eye-opening, big time. But
nice
it does.
to
I
meet
mean,
you.
I actually love going back and seeing it because it's been a while,
Mhm.
and it definitely brings back some memories of development and seeing you break it. I mean, we would unintentionally break it all the time. So as we were building the game.
Yeah.
But the fact that you figured out all that stuff, that's mind blowing to me.
Yeah, that backward slide one to get into
Yeah.
that was crazy.
Cool.
That was pretty awesome.
All right. Thanks again for coming by.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Ted. All right, what's next?
So I have a couple of files set up. First, one of the questions that gets asked a lot is that if I restart this fight, I won't have to fight the fight. If you just listen to the music. It's not the correct theme. This is version 1.0 of the game, the first release.
Mm-hmm.
On Greatest Hits and on the Collector's Edition, it was corrected. This is just one of the homeworld themes.
Oh, interesting.
And there are quite a few tracks that are like misplaced in the first version. But I know at least on the PAL, I think on the PAL versions, they did exist on the discs. They were finished tracks. Do you know why? Like in the first version, they were corrected, but do you know why? Were you aware when you released the version that they weren't correctly assigned? Or
Nobody really tested the first version.
really?
No, I don't know. I mean, I feel like that was one of the things we did like the day before Gold, and like I sort of remember the music tables, but I wasn't the person doing it, so I don't have a lot of insight into it. I know the guy who did it. I could call
And obviously you knew about it because you fixed them later.
I didn't do the fixing.
Well, I mean, someone fixed them later.
Someone
It's not
fixed
like
them,
we
yeah.
like at some point people realized, oh shit, the music got messed up. And the version of patching back then was making sure that the greatest hits version was correct. I feel like some games back then, were there any bug fixes like between games? Were there any like
There were
games?
a lot in this game. Yeah.
We had the egg bug, the one where you couldn't get 100%.
Oh, that's right.
It was like a combination of 3 bugs that all had to happen. It was that one was frustrating because each one of them was things like that only happened, I think, because we were running out of time at the end. Anyway,
That
was-
makes sense.
that was the one. I mean, all the other stuff for the collision that's pretty awesome. The egg bug was like
Yeah. So I'm going to go into Bentley's outpost again and kind of show off more in depth what zombie is, what it does, because you only saw the positive influence of zombie when you're loaded underwater.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to take the damage right here. Just need to take until Sparks is gone, and then you can initiate zombie.
Poor Sparks. See, and Chad, if you guys have questions, let us know. Yeah.
Jeremy's favorite game.
Oh, okay, yeah, and I know one right off the bat. Remastered Resistance asked if this game did release in the Year of the Dragon, and yes, it did. Oh, and joining us now, we'll come back to that question on Jeremy's. Come on in, John Fiorito. Come on in, join the couch. John Fiorito, who is the Chief Operating Officer here at Insomniac Games. This is Jeremy. Jeremy just beat Spyro 3 in 30 minutes and 54 seconds.
awesome, man. You should have been here.
And
Should go
Ted-
watch the stream and then come
I
back.
thought I was going to catch the second half of the playthrough.
No, it's over. We're now into a bugs exhibition, so
Can
we're
you
seeing.
redo it for John?
But faster.
So yeah, we're seeing zombie mode where you die but pause. Although we may have messed it up.
Yeah, I'm dropping an input right now, but I should get it relatively quickly. But basically, it involves the transition between the game recognizing that you're about to die and the game actually killing you. You can pause in a frame, and if you do it correctly, you get some good effects from it. So I'm just trying to get the correct frame, and then dropping the start.
Oh, interesting. So you're actually hitting start multiple times there.
Yeah, I'm trying to pause buffer so I can see the correct frame.
Mm.
I'll give myself lives really quickly again.
Do you remember the bug with music being mislabeled in the music array? And so we had the wrong music for the different level. You don't
I
remember
do
that?
know.
Yeah.
I remember the egg.
Yeah,
The egg.
everyone
Yeah.
remembers the
Everyone knows
darn
the
egg
job.
bug. Yeah.
And lots of collision bugs because I was doing art on these.
Oh,
Collision
you
features.
need to go back and watch the replay of this. You want to see some collision bugs.
Fine. Can you get out of the world?
Oh, you can get out of the world.
Okay. I'm gonna go into, let's see, trying to think of the best way to do this. The problem is, actually, do you think I can plug my controller in for a
yeah,
moment?
Yeah. It's this wire, right? Yeah. Here you
Yeah,
go. There you go. Yeah. Perfect. Get that wired.
This basically guarantees that the inputs are actually being sent. So I have a better chance of pause buffering frame perfectly, although it's apparently not helping.
Yeah, we may be slightly. Our setup too. Also, maybe introducing some.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll try this 2 more times and then just move on from it. It's not a difficult trick. It's precise. It's frame perfect, but with pause buffering, it's not actually executably difficult. There we go. Okay.
So now
So we're in zombie mode, and you saw in the run there's the instant summoner because I was loaded underwater. When you're loaded on a mountain, you're still in ground state, and so I can demonstrate like you just stay in ground state. There's no water there, so you just fall through. Normally you'd be stuck if you fall all the way down.
Right.
There's one way you can get on. I'm gonna go into Lost Fleet really quickly just to further show like the acid doesn't work either. Even the damaging surface doesn't damage you. Because it's viewed as water in the game. And
I don't even know how this bug can exist. That's just weird.
Be careful around here.
Like, this feels like something you would actually have to write to make happen.
so
Right.
the water is not here either, the acid. You can actually get a cool skip. I won't get it here because it's really difficult. But you can proxy, clip, and if you jump on the same frame you proxy and clip, you can clip under the boat all the way through. So I'm going to die on purpose right here. And get a different type of zombie, one that is more instant. Take a different route than I did when I was doing the run. If you can position the cannons properly and turn them up 2 notches in this level, then you can get a charge jump off them when you're not supposed to. And hopefully you'll have it. And that allows you to skip the scenery, skip over the scenery.
oh, look at that.
So I don't require the enemy boost. There are quite a few skips in this level, different proxies, different boosts you can do. So I'll death abuse to get crazy out of the air again, because this isn't a completed Lost Fleet.
How long did it take you to discover that?
Well, the community behind the run, like it truly is a community behind the run, discovered it over years and years and years. Speedrunning has been popular for Spyro since about 2012. So the majority of the glitches were found after that, but things like Zombie were found actually like 10 years ago.
But 2012 was Year of the Dragon too, right?
Yeah, it's the next year of the
That makes
dragon,
sense.
so that's why it came back.
Yeah. So you can get the summoner from this if you're invincible. You have to have the water cycle correct, so it's a little bit finicky. Oh, very close.
Is this the most popular Spyro to speedrun?
I think Spyro's 1 and 2 are both slightly more popular, but I definitely prefer this one as a run. Let me get invincibility again.
Yeah, I said you're close a couple times, it looked like. You're trying to dive underneath.
Trying to dive. I'm trying to get my animation to pull me over the side of the boat, so I'm not constrained to the boundary. There we go. So you can't actually die when you're collecting an egg. Not like this, at least. And so until then, it's trying to kill me, but it can't. And then I can get an instant zombie if I pause in the correct frame. I didn't, but it'll spawn me because it's a save point still in swim and air. And so I can just try this over and over again. And it's fine. Let me plug in my controller.
Oh, yep.
I won't need to do this for all of them, but zombie is frame perfect, so it's just kind of inconvenient to drop an input when I'm trying this one. Okay.
Bit Critter Spyro says Spyro the Dragon is the easiest speed run, to be honest.
Yeah, Spyro the
Yeah.
Dragon is a lot less broken. There we go. So Spyro 3 is probably the most broken, although Spyro 2 has a movement technique that makes it okay, never mind. Spyro 2 is the most broken. You can skip every single boss that runs 8.5 minutes. But
Wouldn't be much of a show.
yeah, so we're in zombie state again, as evidenced by the swim. One kind of interesting thing that you can do with this, the snowman in this level doesn't throw you properly if you're in zombie mode. So it's just kind of funny to get thrown by him because, as you'll see, I won't spoil anything. He struggles to throw you out first, and then you just kind of slide and just keep sliding. And then the game is locked, so I'll have to restart this file. While I'm
figure out how it even exists. Like what? I don't even know. I'm guessing he's at 0 hit points.
And then there's a
And
check.
We only check at the point where damage is passed when hit points goes down to see if we're going to do a game over. So somehow you got to the point where you're at 0 hit points, where we're not doing the check because you're not taking damage.
Yeah.
And there are all these other little checks that are saying, well, if you're 0 hit points, don't do this and this and this. Oh man, yeah.
That's
pretty
crazy.
great.
So while I'm restarting the file, there was a question from the community. It said, in Evening Lake, there's some unused dialogue from the professor still present on the disc. Was his role in the game originally much larger? And were there other characters with diminished or entirely omitted roles?
Yes. What was the dialogue? 'Cause I'm trying to remember.
If anyone in chat knows the
There
dialogue.
was something about the rocket and fireworks factory. I think I don't know the exact dialogue.
I wrote a little over half of it, so I probably wrote that. I'm just trying to think of what it was. We had a lot of different versions that kind of came together fast for the story, and oh man, yeah. I think we originally had like a bigger role for like for both the monkey and professor. There's like an extra section that we're gonna put in. I just can't remember what it was. So I think this was like the area where we decided to. I think they like cut a level or something.
I thought I needed to skip it, but it's open. Anyway, there's so there are 3 things I want to show in here. There's one tunnel that I'll be able to get to that you're not actually able to get to in the game, which is kind of interesting because clearly it was intended. I will say the tunnel is right here, and I assume there's supposed to be a breakable wall right there because there's a butterfly jar in the tunnel. So it was put there intentionally. There's only one way really to get to it though, and that's this proxy's a little bit finicky, but if you just do this one, I need a pretty high one. And this one's kind of weird because it's one of the few proxies that doesn't really seem to be execution based. We know that we get a better chance of it if we're going to the right of the box and we're getting stuck in between. That's what we want right there. So we get this proxy, and then this is non-collision, we can fall through. And then there's this tunnel right here that has a butterfly jar. And like I said, it's right there, but there's no breakable wall, so it's completely inaccessible.
So someone forgot to put the breakable
Yeah.
on the wall.
Maybe.
You
The
can't right
dialogue
in front of it.
the dialogue, by the way, was, oh dear, I've been trying to get a rocket to take you to Midnight Moonlight, but I've misplaced my plans. Now I can't even remember. So you had to find the plans for the professor to get a rocket to take you somewhere else?
Is this in the Agent 9 level?
It was in the fireworks factory, right?
It was in the firework. Okay.
Which does have Agent 9. Like, I'm about to show Agent 9 stuff. He's right there. So like I said about the sorceress, the area portals are a lot larger than they appear in most cases. And so usually there's some place in the area portal that you can just do this. Hold on.
You know, I think what it was is you know how we had different regions, like the separate, regions are like a separate loadable area within the level.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of a new thing we did for Spyro 3. So I think we originally had like an extra region in here that got cut, and then it was the professor that would take
And the professor would take you there.
Okay, so there are 2 glitches in this area. One of them I'll be able to retry and hopefully get. But this one is a movement technique. That's why Agent 9 is so broken. And basically, if you hold one of the strafe buttons and then mash the other one while holding forward, you build up pretty incredible speed. And so you can, if you're good at it, this is used in 100 Egg, a different category. It's like a legacy any percent before the skip into the sorceress is found. If you're good at it, you can finish the challenge in a very short amount of time, but you can see the speed just is incredible. And there was a 117%, so just full completion there was a task made in 2014, and that abused it to its full potential. I can send James a link to that after I leave, so he can show you guys. But it gets pretty crazy in the tasks because that's when somebody programs a bunch of inputs, so you can frame perfectly play. Basically, it's essentially like
it's like a player piano kind of thing.
Yeah. And so when it's done as thoroughly as Nitrosky did it, Nitrosky is the tasser, it's pretty incredible. So the challenge would end there. I'm gonna restart the file so I can try something else. You have to do it while you're talking to Agent 9. If you pause frame perfectly, and fortunately in this case we can mash, but if you pause frame perfectly, then you can kind of escape the text for a moment, and I'll try to death abuse after that. And hopefully I can get it this try.
Someone said that version of it that's pre-programmed with the movement takes 19 seconds to get through the whole challenge.
Yeah, it's really crazy. the task is just like I think it's like a 2.5 hour task, a little bit less, but it's incredible. So I guess while we're waiting on this, are there any level or level section ideas that were heavily considered but not put into the game? And what's your favorite level or level section that was put into the game?
Well, what about the skateboarding on the spherical?
Oh
planet?
man, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I think that was. I mean, that was a prototype for Ratchet though. That was like because we started doing spherical worlds for Ratchet. I don't think.
No, we made a because you and I worked on it, and we made a spherical planet with a skateboard.
I remember doing it, but
The problem was if you jumped out of the bowl, the gravity was messed up, so you would just fly so far up into the sky that we had to drop it and save it for when we had a more powerful.
There's a proxy
mission.
without a proxy.
Remember anything else that didn't make it?
I mean, most of the things you can kind of tell in Spyro 3. Like we put in everything. We didn't really say no to anything.
I remember we had a race of NPCs that were hippies and they had tie-dye t-shirts. I thought we had to change that.
I don't think so. That was in there.
I think the hippies are in there, right?
Yeah, I think they're wearing tie-dyes.
Really? Okay.
I can imagine the Enchanted Towers NPCs maybe.
Yes, it was Enchanted Towers,
right.
And I thought we had to tone it down a bit.
Might have gotten complaints.
Yeah. From internal. Yeah, what was your favorite level?
I'm trying to remember. I mean, Okay, first, my mom's favorite level is that crazy one that you hated, the one that the crystal.
Oh, the
crystals and the what was it? It was like it was just a random. It was like was it platypuses or something? Garden gnomes.
The crystal bear.
The crystal bears.
Oh, Crystal Islands was that level.
That was. It was because it was like the most random set of different things, and I think that's why she liked it, and that's why you hated it.
Because your mom liked it.
No, you hated it because it was just so random. It was like there's like not really any artistic cohesion to it. It's just like, but I mean, it kind of worked. It kind of worked in a weird way.
For some reason I'm remembering the pandas. The
Mm-hmm.
pandas parachuting down, and you had to shoot them with a cannon, but you didn't kill them, right?
Yeah, you killed the Rhinox that were they had umbrellas. And They were falling down. There's an interesting skip that was found recently for that, where the Rhinox that fall down, they come down on the umbrella. They're stored invisibly over the arena, and so you can hit them early and save like 18 seconds on the challenge.
All right.
Which is usually, I mean, it's really nice because a lot of auto scrollers. Oops, this is the wrong file. So I'll try this one more time. If not, I'll just move on. And then I'll explain what it would have been. It's a really cool trick, but it is frame perfect. And the strat is mashing. On console, on PlayStation 2, you can unplug your controller and plug it back in, and it automatically pauses for you on the first frame. On PS TV, you don't have that luxury. So you actually have to get the frame perfect input. I'll try this one more time.
My favorite level, I'm going with Treetops. It wasn't the prettiest, didn't have the best story, but just doing the dashing around and trying to complete the course. It's just one of the hardest things I think we ever did.
So what happened there?
So you pause and you escape the text, and then I'm gonna death abuse right here. I'm gonna spin jump out. What do you think is going to happen?
You're going to fall into infinity.
Yeah. So I'm gonna die.
You're up in the super bonus world.
Mm-hmm.
No. Yes.
You're going to unlock the hidden Ratchet world that we put. No.
The chat's freaking out that you got it.
So we get in here as Spyro instead of Agent 9.
Yes!
And you can complete the entire challenge with him. And the ninjas are programmed so that Agent 9's movement is what they respond to. So they respond, but very slowly. So you can just charge right through them. It's a very safe option. And for 117, where you have to collect all the gems, it's also a very convenient option because it's faster unless you are a computer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I actually replaced so they have the wrong character.
Mm-hmm. And you can do it, I think there are 4 side areas you can do it, and you can escape the text in pretty much everywhere except for the main levels. But if you can't death abuse, you can't get this effect. So there are only a few of them that have the collision that is appropriate to get this glitch. There's one for each character, actually. There's one in Crystal Islands for Bentley, There's one in Seashell Shore for Sheila, and there's one in Charmbridge for Sergeant Bird, where you can do it as Spyro. A lot of times they crash though.
That's amazing.
So what was the hardest level for you to master?
For me to master,
Because I'm assuming you've mastered them all at this point, right?
I'm pretty good at them all. That's a good question. I think Sorceress, the final fight, progressively, especially in the last year when we've been researching a lot of the patterns, it's extremely intricate and a lot of very difficult stuff. It doesn't have a large RNG element anymore, random element, but there is still some situations that you can just get destroyed by the random effect and lose like 30 or 40 seconds right at the end. But it's a really difficult fight. Okay, so now Charmbridge.
Remember the demo mode we always had to do, like with the pre-recorded bits?
Uh-huh.
But it wasn't that we couldn't afford to put video on, so they had to be actually. We would have to do a random seed, initialize a random seed, and then have like all the pre-recorded input just fed in, and then that caused so many bugs because like there would always be some random thing that didn't get affected, and then.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just thinking. I wonder if that had something to do with like how you said in Sorceress, like they would always go one way at the beginning. And I was just wondering if that's because we had done something to make the seed initialize there, so it was always the same random seed in the beginning. I was just thinking because I couldn't think of why that would be because I'm sure it's random, but maybe we picked a seed. Anyway, we did a lot of weird stuff just to make the demo mode work.
Mm-hmm. So this is a puzzle challenge. It's like a lot of things, very broken. You can spin jump onto these and get onto them early, which is nice if you do it properly. I guess not. I'll use this. Which is nice if you do
What
it
does
properly.
I must have missed it in the beginning, but does spin jump get you extra
I guess.
height?
The way it was described to me was that it gives you a different horizontal momentum going into the edge, and so it can kind of edge you up onto a surface if you just barely can't make it. So there are things called boosted jumps on these mushrooms, where if you hold charge and then hold X and then release charge, you can get multiple jumps, you get more momentum than you're supposed to get from the single.
Right.
So you can skip the puzzle like that.
Oh, wow.
That's such a good puzzle.
Yeah.
It was good.
It's the best puzzle ever. You missed it.
And there's an interesting glitch at the end of this that was corrected with the release of the Collector's Edition, where Jack stands at the top and he's on a wooden platform. And in this version, the wooden platform is completely breakable before he gets on. So he falls through.
What about the duck? Oh.
And then we're here. I can get back up and talk to Jack so I can collect my egg.
How's Jack get back up?
Jack is a little bit screwed.
Didn't Jack and Jill fall down a well or something? That's kind of what happened here. Am I right? Is that the wrong?
They definitely went up a hill. I don't know what it
I
was.
think they fell down the hill.
Oh, did they fall down a hill? They rolled down a hill.
They went up the hill to
Wait,
get
Jack
to the
broke his
well.
crown, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I can get the egg like this.
Kind of confusing when I was a kid.
And then
Pale water, thanks, Corey.
I think if I death abuse right here, a lot of these are like ones that, since they're not in the run, I don't practice too much. But I think if I death abuse, yeah. So at this point, you're just stuck in here. You have to exit out of the area. So if you death abuse after collecting that and with breaking the board, then you're just stuck completely. So that was one of the differences in version 1.0 and version 1.1. Let's see. So I want to face Scorch again, so I can get into Midnight. One question I had on Scorch. There was an official strategy guide that was released that said that green rockets did double damage compared to red rockets, and that's not the case. They do equal damage, but I was wondering if at any point that was the
Yeah, it was supposed to
Damage
be.
thing.
I
Really?
have no idea what happened.
That would have been so nice, because
That's weird.
would have been really balanced that way.
That makes no sense. I have no idea why it wasn't.
And then there were, I think, 2 other weapons that were considered in Scorch, right? Like there was an enemy clearing one and an invincibility one. Does that sound right?
That does sound right, yeah.
So I'm not sure the specifics of those, but I'm just wondering if you remember anything about them.
I remember this being like basically unplayable. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's one of those ones where I feel like we had a lot more planned for it, and then either we tried it and it just wasn't fun, or we just, I don't know.
Boss fights always end up as like one of those things. It's late and like hard. And
It just takes a lot of iteration. And a lot of times it takes, it sounds good on paper, and it might even start out fun, but then when you try balancing it, you're like, that didn't work. Yeah. A lot of times something sounds fun on paper, and then you actually get it, and you're like, it's either too easy to exploit, or I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Chris LBCS, how long will we be letting speedrunners visit Insomniac to do their runs? And Corey responded in the chat, until the polar ice caps melt. And Chris said, yay. And it's like, yeah, you better get moving, dude, because they're melting pretty fast. No, you just need to get in touch, and we'll see what we can set up. Obviously, this is great. We love seeing this.
Well,
stuff.
we've got 33 minutes, right? That's
we
the
have-
one to beat.
I forgot about these.
There's the shmup. Yeah.
So I picked this glitch out because a lot of times, like I mentioned before, Swimminator and proxies are so useful that we take for granted that there are a lot of other glitches in the game that are also useful and sometimes more creative. So for the Sparks area, there are certain out of bounds that you can do. Hold on.
Can you get sparks into a regular
No.
level?
What?
So you can climb out.
That would be awesome.
And
Sparks.
because of where the boss is, you can just go straight to the boss area
Huh.
and finish the level like that. Since I'm on green sparks, I don't think I'm not very confident about winning this fight. Yeah, but you
It's still
could
cool.
theoretically just finish the fight. So a lot of sparks levels, you climb up with strafing. You don't use there's like a faster movement that you can do. You don't use that, and you strafe with the camera or with the R1, L1 buttons, and you can get a lot out of bounds that you normally wouldn't get. Okay, so I'm going to go into the other file, and while I do that, in Spyro 2, the homeworlds are all themed with seasons, so summer, forest, autumn, plains, winter, tundra. Was there a spring homeworld planned initially that had to be omitted due to time restrictions, and if so, do you remember any specifics about it?
I feel we always went with 3 on purpose.
Yeah,
and
I
then
think we always have 3 hubs.
And then we tried to make the little intro glimmer, I think it was called,
Yeah.
more spray, had little flowers blooming in the grass. And,
Right.
so it wasn't all 4 seasons, but it's kind of
I think we just picked the ones that we thought were going to look the coolest.
that too.
And so here, Buzz's hitbox, when he's doing that, extends infinitely up. And so I can get as much height as I want to. After you get to a certain height, it becomes a lot more difficult because I can't see the arena to judge where I'm supposed to be turning.
No idea why we're running down that.
But I can get as much
Just
height
make
as
sure
I-
you couldn't jump over his head, but
Yeah.
Maybe.
There are some enemies like that in Spyro 1 as well. So that's just an interesting... like in Ratchet and Clank, there's a lot of like infinite jumping you can do. In Spyro, there's not. So it's just an interesting...
that's so weird.
Yeah.
But awesome.
Let's see. Where is it going to go next? Oh, yeah, this one's good. This is a type of proxy that I didn't do in the run. It's pretty unique, actually. So actually, I guess on the note of the infinite height, at some point the game would crash, and we know that because on the PAL version there are some slide proxies that aren't possible on NTSC, where you kind of get stuck on the slide, and eventually after you build a bunch of momentum, you go up really quickly, and you can actually crash the game by going so high. This is going to go pretty high, especially compared to what I was doing before, but even this is only like 1/10 as high as the PAL proxies can get you, and there's a Haunted Tomb one and a Crystal Islands one. Can also show there's an area portal over there, and so just to reiterate that they're larger than they appear. If you go behind it, then you can get up to this side. but this enemy's animation pulls you up. And if you're too far down, it'll be gone before you're pulled all the way up. And so if I dodge it and go down in a specific way, then I go really high. And it can send me up, like I can be falling for minutes. And it'll just...
You see that portal go by?
Yeah, there's actually a non-collision, non-interactable version of each level. Above each level, there's like coordinate wrapping that happens. So you can, with that proxy, get high enough to see that coordinate wrapping.
Can you go into one of those portals?
No, they're inactive. But
Takes you to the true ending and final boss.
Yeah, I'm surprised that didn't crash it though, because I'll be doing collision lookups on grids that don't exist.
yeah, you can crash. The PAL proxies, they go about like 10 to 15 times higher, and they do crash. They would go higher if not for that. So let me go into Seashore Shore. I can hand this one off at a certain point. It's not a glitch that I have to execute. I'll use the Superfly this time. And actually, it's worth noting, the reason that's still locked, even though I have plenty of eggs, is that in Sunrise Spring, the guy in front of Molten Crater and the guy in front of Seashell Shore, if you skip into their levels and finish them, then they won't properly unlock the levels ever. It's not a huge problem since we skip it and never go back, but it is kind of interesting. So I'll try a similar route right here. Like I said, a lot of these I don't do very often, so I'm more inclined to miss them. But this one's not super precise.
Hey, John and Brian.
Yeah.
On Bamboo Terrace, there was an early screenshot of a tiger enemy that was cut from the level. Do you remember that at all?
I remember.
Tiger.
Yeah, I remember the tiger enemy. That I didn't realize that got cut. Thinking back on it.
Kellogg's was gonna sue. Didn't like using
Maybe that was it. Yeah.
Stay away from our
That's
frosted
possible.
flakes. You purple dragon fiends.
I don't remember what happened with that.
We must have run out of time.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, sometimes there'd just be an enemy that everybody hated and wasn't fun, and we'd be like, you know what, easier is to cut it. So I'm guessing that's probably what happened there. You know what? Actually, because it was on all fours, right? There
Was it on all fours in the chat, guys? Through in that tiger.
Because we had one that would charge at you in that level.
Oh, people are talking. The chat knows the Bluto bug is incoming.
Yeah, so who wants to do this? This one can be done by anyone.
All right, I'll do it.
All right. So get onto the vehicle. Just continue
Okay.
through the text.
So I think we had a tiger one that we had problems making the turn look good,
Okay.
and we ended up
Get
being
into
like,
the
screw
arena
it,
with the
cut it.
submarine.
Okay. All right.
And then pause the game. Okay, so now prepare your hands so you can pause buffer. So X start, X start, X start as
Okay.
quickly as you can.
X start, X start, X start. Is
So
that it?
you're good there. So this is what happens.
This is good.
I don't know why this happens, and I won't show it for that long because it does give people headaches.
Yeah.
But
You can see the gems and stuff, right? Like there's,
This
you see
happens
a
on all of
little
our games. We just don't ship with it.
what's really interesting about this one is a lot of the glitches, including one of the ones I'll do at the end, they persist until you exit the level. But this one actually it continues all the way until the title screen. You have to reset the console, so it'll correct itself for a second, and then it's going to go back into it.
crazy.
So I'll have to reset the game on the console to correct that one.
Could you play the rest of the game?
You
like
could,
that
but
If
wanted
you
to?
didn't throw up,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, that-
good lord.
There have been people that have tried runs with it, like just Bluto glitch runs, and those people are insane.
They're crazy, yeah,
Yeah.
they're crazy. Good lord, that's nuts. We've got about 6 minutes left on the show. I don't know, you've had some more questions. Chat, if you got questions, throw them in real quick.
Okay. All right, I'll do two more things. So I'll go to the Midnight Mountain questions then. And also, there's a file in the main directory of the disk that contains some unused text, a sort of poem of literary references. So it's like the now is the hour of discontent. That was also present in Spyro 1 and Spyro 2. Could you explain this? And also, are there any other Easter eggs that you think people might not have found by now?
It's the one that starts all the famous poems and novels, and then it says, "I always get the shemp."
That sounds like something Al would have done.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like
Yeah.
an Al thing.
I don't know why he did it. Like we did have files that we had to put in for padding to pad out the seat, but it wouldn't have been that because it would have been really big. I can't think of what. We must have needed the file for something. Maybe we needed a file of a certain name just to exist there for the operating system to work, and then Al just did stuff like that because we wanted to.
Code comments
Is
are
it
always
good?
interesting places because you don't think anyone's ever going to read it.
Okay, so I need 4 eggs, and then I'll do one thing, and then there's one thing after that, and then I'll be done. So I'll just get some eggs really quickly.
Someone asked, oh god, it's all going off the chat screen too fast. What does shemp mean?
That was an ongoing programmer joke. Started by Chris McNulty, and it was the Shemp is was the fourth Stooge.
Okay,
and it's
that's right.
considered not as funny as Curly, and so like, and this might have been from a King of the Hill reference. Like if you get the Shemp, it's like you got the less funny. You didn't get Curly, you got So so whenever something bad happened, we'd say we got the Shemp, and I'm not saying it was a funny joke. Just saying.
Just was
I
a
think
joke.
It worked its way into the culture.
I think Chris, the programmer, would say that because he listened to the Howard Stern show, and they said
Oh.
that on the Howard Stern
Oh,
show.
did they? Okay.
That's his. I don't know that he was a big Three Stooges fan. Maybe he was, right? We all.
It's funny. There's always someone in the office who's a big Howard Stern fan. Brian Intihar now, or at least I don't know if he used to be. I don't know if he is anymore as much, but he used to be.
Yeah.
Always used to be a big
But,
Stern.
but that's where Dr. Shemp came
Yeah,
from, too.
got it.
The Spyro 1 boss.
Someone said, "Oh, if you
This level, that's right. I forgot about this.
someone said, do you think if Spyro had thumbs, you would have kept making Spyro games?" I don't know
So
if
he
you
could
saw,
hold
but
it- so
Toys
he
for
could hold
Bob
it
gave him
again.
thumbs. They decided to make Spyro more future-proof, I guess. Whoa, you're back way up in the air.
Yeah, I want to get to an area portal over here.
I want to say we took Spyro as far as we could, and we were ready to move on. creatively.
I think he could do anything he needed to do without thumbs.
That was the quote back in the day. He didn't have thumbs, so he couldn't hold a weapon.
But like he could pick up things in his mouth and spit them out. So
That's not a weapon.
it was kind of like a weapon.
Couldn't hold a big Insomniac
Well, I mean,
weapon.
we had like Agent 9. So like,
There you go.
any mechanics we wanted to do, we could just like go to like a side character. I don't know. I think there was always room. I don't think he needed thumbs to.
Was there an arena in Dino Mines that got cut?
Yeah, I'm going to do that right now.
Oh, that's what we're flying to. All right, everyone's saying arena in the Dino Mines.
Can you find one of the wanted posters in the
Oh, sure.
Cowboy Village?
Yeah.
I think that was our second ever Dan Johnson
Yeah.
I think I know
in the
one.
game.
Right there.
Yeah,
Nice.
there he is.
Dan Johnson.
That's from his driver's license with a handlebar mustache.
Did he have the mustache in his license?
No,
No.
Oh, okay.
not that one.
Alright, so I'm gonna find this portal. I'm a little bit turned around right now. So basically, there is an area that's unfinished in this. It's like an arena area, kind of like Sleepyhead and Spooky Swamp. And you guys just put like a mountain over it, but it's still accessible if I can find it.
Way to only slap a mountain on top of it, John.
I didn't.
You need to bury
I
it
didn't
better.
like this one.
What do you mean unfinished? This is perfectly fine.
So a lot of
Good
people
stuff.
are very curious as to what this was, if you remember, like a Bailey gang fight of some sort, or
So, yeah, this is
Roadie?
definitely going to be one of our mini games. I'm trying to remember what got because this was one of those levels that was coming in hot at the end of the game. But I don't remember what it was going to be. Was
For
it
some
like a shootout?
reason-
Like an Agent 9 shootout?
Yeah,
Oh,
would there be
like
a
a
lot
Western
of T-Rexes
stockade.
running around, or cowboy T-Rexes, or
Maybe like a cowboy shootout with Agent 9?
I feel like, yeah, it might have been a quick draw thing. Yeah, that might have been it.
Feels right, like with sort of the stockade feel, like characters spaced out and drawing.
yeah. Okay, I have one more thing. It won't take. I think first or second try should be very doable. It's in Crystal Islands. And basically, like, if I get it, you'll know it. It's a sequence of things I have to do beforehand, but all of those are consistent. There is a random element to what happens, though. So I'll explain what I'm doing and why I'm doing it as I go. So
This is your mom's favorite level, right?
there are a lot of swim airs in this level. Unfortunately, not one in the first pool of water. There, in every other pool of water, we can get a swim air. Not this one though, so you have to skip past it.
It did turn out pretty.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
This is probably one of my
Lots of
favorites in
fun.
Midnight Mountain. Okay, so I'm going to spawn the gems and get a swim in air off of those, hopefully. Get 2 tries at this. So now I want to get to the end of the level, and the end of level character has an enormous talk box for some reason. You can actually talk to him from the armor chest island, you can talk to him from the top of the building. Basically anywhere you land where you can see him, he'll probably talk to you. So I'm going to go into this area before I talk to him, so that I talk to him on the first frame as I come out.
Here, you can have this.
So I'm talking to him right now. And then I need to navigate and die. Hopefully I can... I think I got it. Yeah, there we go. So now the level, you can see in the background, they're a little glitchy. But we can make it a lot better, hopefully first try. So I'm going to get the swim air as well. And I need to go up and look down. And then it's very unstable right now. And so if I can pull it out of what wants to crash, then we'll get what we want, hopefully. So it's trying to crash.
It's trying so hard to finish.
Yeah. If I can pull it out, this should be good. There we go.
Whoa!
Yikes.
So you can get a bunch of really cool textures. The textures are random, so you get a bunch of different
Huh.
colors every time you try it.
VRAM corruption.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So this is probably one of the coolest ones, visually at least.
Wow.
Yeah. I
And
feel like you're in It's a Small World or something.
This is, this is really pretty awesome.
yeah. And I'll go into the slide area. This is
It's a level
called,
like this.
in the community, it's called Disco Slide because of its appearance.
This is how you guys actually envisioned the level when you made it, right?
So once I turn, you'll see it just starts to go crazy on the. There we go.
This is how I imagined it, because we've been playing a lot of Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Rainbow Road. That is wild.
Mhm.
Okay, there's a
That's kinda-
chat question.
Yeah.
How many glitches has Jeremy found? And also, what's his favorite game?
Quite a few. I don't know a number, but I've been around for about 4 years in the community, and I've been finding stuff relatively consistently. But the community as a whole, just like so many people have contributed to the run. So I don't want to take credit for like everything, because it's not everything at all. What I found is a small percentage of what hundreds of people have found. And what was the other part?
What's your favorite game?
Oh, this game, Ratchet & Clank, the first one, the second one as well, Spyro 1, Gauntlet Legends for N64.
Mm-hmm.
I played one recently, one of my friends recommended it to me, Environmental Station Alpha. It's a kind of it's a Steam game, kind of a Metroidvania. It's really good. And
Environmental Station Alpha?
Yes. And trying to think of one more. Pokemon. I love Pokemon.
Classic.
Yeah.
Pokemon Go. Oh,
Yeah, I like
Just
it
kidding.
too. Cool. Well, I think that's about wrapping us up for time. Jeremy, thank you so much for coming in.
No
It was
problem.
awesome
Yeah,
to
that
have
was
you
awesome.
here
That was amazing.
and
Pleasure
showing
to
us a
join.
bunch of great stuff. And I know Chris LBC is champing at the bit to come. As I've said before, if you're a speedrunner and you find yourself in the LA area, you let me know. We'll try and work it out so you can come in and show your run off here, and we'll broadcast it and bring people in who worked on the game to talk about it. And You can make their faces look like Ted and Brian's face look when they saw Jeremy destroy Spyro 3 in the best possible way.
In like 3 seconds. That was insane.
Yeah, 30 minutes, 54 seconds.
Like it was that first move he did in the first level.
Yeah,
I'm like,
what is going on? So, Jeremy, thanks so much for coming in. Thanks all of you for tuning in and watching. Click that follow button if you're interested in more shows from Insomniac Live. We broadcast 5 times a week. We've got other good shows coming up this week. Like there's a Detroit 2 Human demo we're going to try and play on Wednesday. I think they're playing some Feral Rights. And we're actually doing a community choice episode that the North Carolina team is going to play on Friday because Corey and I are out of the office. So if you're interested in that, talk about which ones you want with North Carolina on Tuesday and Thursday. They'll be taking your on Discord, our Discord channel. And I know the Discord link's been in there a bunch. So that's all for now. North Carolina will be back with you at 11 a.m. tomorrow. And I hope everyone has a great rest of the day. I gotta go see Avengers, so we'll see you guys on Wednesday here from North Carolina, but 11 a.m. from North Carolina tomorrow, and we'll be back on 2 p.m. Pacific on Wednesday with Detroit 2 Human here from Burbank. Thanks everyone for watching, and thanks again to Jeremy Thompson, our speedrunner guest, who crushed it. That was amazing. All right, peace.
We're not signing off right now.
We're not signing
We're
off.
over, but we're not signing off because here, you guys sign that.
Oh, you guys signed that?
And then
Is this for Jeremy?
They were asking about all the speed run stuff. They want to see the Steven Seagal run one more time.
Oh, do your Steven Seagal run.
Okay.
Do it.
Have you guys all seen Steven Seagal movies?
yeah.
You know how he runs? Because when he speed runs, it's kind of you set it up.
All right, let's do it.
He kind of runs like this.
I gotta go watch it again.
Steven Seagal.
Can't believe
All
we're
right,
ending
now
on
we can go.
that. Now we're ending. All right, that's it for now.
Thank you,
Thanks
Corey.
for